Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all.
Best Peanuts Holiday Special.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Hal, I'm mad at you.
Already? You're coming out hot
Already.
like
I'm coming in hot like that. I'm mad at you, and also I love you. Because
hot and cold.
I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about Peanuts holiday specials. This is great.
Right.
There's 4 of them. No, there's not 4 of them, Hal. I had a whole plan. I have a dry erase board of stuff I was supposed to do over the last 2 days. And instead, I have done nothing but watch Peanuts holiday specials. And I both want to kiss you and kick you for suggesting this.
Well, before we jump in, can I try to guess how many items are on that board that you didn't get to?
1, 2, 8. And then there are 3 that are crossed off.
Okay. Can I guess 3 that you have not yet done?
Oh, wait,
I'll
one of
keep
them's
it
not
general.
crossed off. It's just underlined. Yes.
Okay. Is one of them returning a call or email?
Yeah, that has now just become correspondence. Like
Okay.
I do it all in one fell
Okay.
swoop. Now
All
that
right.
I hear you can schedule texts, this is
You
great.
can't. Oh,
news.
there you go. This is perfect for you.
Yeah,
All right. That's one.
yeah.
Is a second one involve cleaning something?
No, because I did that.
I figured that was one of the ones that was crossed off.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There are a lot of things in my life I can't control, but cleaning is one that I can. So I just do that.
Is there something that you're supposed to pick up or drop off?
No, nothing. Nothing I'm supposed to pick up or drop off. Do 2022 taxes count as something I'm supposed to drop off?
Yes, to your accountant.
Then yes.
Okay. I was going to say, is paying your taxes in there? 2022. Well, before the IRS starts listening, we should quickly pivot to.
We should. Let's talk about the peanuts.
You said there are 4. I would say there are only 3 that are really that good, and then there's a sharp drop off.
Yes, there is a sharp drop off, but there is a lot of gold in there.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of garbage as well. But, Bill Melendez did this for 40 years off and on directing these Peanut specials. And there's a lot of great stuff. And it's a lot of stuff that is nostalgic and things that I remember as being from a Charlie Brown Christmas or the Charlie Brown Valentine special, whichever the first one was called. I don't have it right in front of me yet.
I think it's Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown, or Charlie Brown Valentine, something like that.
Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. And
yeah.
But there's also a Charlie Brown Valentine. There are all of these, and they all kind of mush into one bunch of Christmas things that I assume are all in one special. One bunch of Valentine's things that I assume are all in one special. You know what I mean? Like they all kind of blend together at a certain point. But I did find some real differences through the eras of the different Charlie Brown and Peanut specials that we watched, and some surprising similarities that I think will be fun things for us to talk about as ways to delineate. Because there are certain tropes that exist in, if not all of them, then all of the best ones.
Oh, okay.
The ones that are going to be contenders. You know what I mean? All of the ones that I think are going to be contenders, they've got a football scene. They've got a Lucy and Schroeder scene. They've got some sort of Snoopy imagination scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have one narrative through line sketch that keeps coming back.
Yeah, it's funny that you approached it that way because I approached it from, I'm noticing something in the ones that I don't like that they have in common. Chiefly that being Snoopy being abusive to Woodstock. Now we know he's bossy, but there are some where he's straight. The Easter one, like he buys him a birdhouse and then destroys the birdhouse. He gets upset that he can't go in. Like it's a really bizarre. I don't like the relationships where he's kicking and throwing a bird. And beating a bird up.
And when they're just the best versions of Snoopy are the ones where Woodstock is just kind of obliviously following along and Snoopy is getting him to help out. Or the ones where, if Woodstock is abused, it's only because the pilgrim hat that Snoopy gives him is too big.
Yeah, he can't.
And it's not really abused. He's just in the dark and fumbling around under a giant hat.
Well, he also doesn't want to wear the outfit at first. And so Snoopy has to chase him and essentially force it out. That was the start of like, oh, this isn't okay. This isn't okay, not by a long shot.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in these that is and is not okay. Some of these Valentine episodes, I mean, some of these characters would be in jail now for some of the antics they're pulling in these Valentine's episodes, or at least juvie, because they're children.
Yeah, they're all children. You know, I mean, the whole idea of Peanuts to me now, after watching, is they are all children with different varieties of personality disorder who are there together and various levels of emotional intelligence. Some of them are very aware. Some of them are like Peppermint Patty, don't seem to be aware at all. And then I think, well, Marcy, you know, remember when we were talking about the best member of the Peanuts gang, I was talking about Marcy being more competent than Peppermint Patty. And then I rewatched the Easter special where she can't figure out how to prepare eggs to have them colored.
She tries to put an egg in the toaster, man. We spent so much time talking. You know what? I feel a little like I was underprepared for it last week when we were talking about the Peanuts characters, because I kind of just did a cursory, like, of course I know these characters. I grew up with them. Now, having spent literal hours with them over the last couple of days. Yeah, Marcy is not the Mensa member that we initially, but that's the thing. They change throughout time. And that's one of the fun things about the Peanuts characters is in one thing, Marcy is going to put an egg in the toaster and think that's going to work. In another one, she's going to turn to Peppermint Patty and say, are you sure you think that's a good idea, sir? You know what I mean? Like, they contain multitudes depending on who's directing the story, where we are in their different storylines. Yeah. So it's fun to kind of look at it through the lens of, I mean, at one point, Linus really feels like he grew up between A Charlie Brown Christmas and A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. And the reason for that is he's the one that came back, the voice actor, something Shay. I've got it written down. I have so many postcards. I feel like a crazy person just sitting here. Like I basically have red yarn going along the wall. But he was, listening to him in Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, I was like, oh, this kid has hit puberty already.
Right.
We're now dealing with a late teenager trying to sound like a young Linus. So even the voice actors grew up. The characters are going to be wildly different throughout as well. I think there's something to be said for the 80s when Snoopy finally hits that like MetLife.
Oh yeah. He's like the biggest star in the world.
Yeah. 1986's Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. That's where I think Snoopy really is his most. This is the 1980s Snoopy from the Folders and Trapper Keepers.
He's Eddie Murphy in 1983.
Yeah.
On SNL. Like, oh, he should not be on the show anymore. He's way too big for it. Also, that one was really weird. That is the one, if I'm not mistaken, where Charlie Brown is assigned War and Peace and a book report about War and Peace over the holiday break.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really weird.
He tells Linus about it. And then later on, they're back in school and Linus is in the chair in front of him. They're in the same. So is he like really Charlie Brown he's like Prometheus. He's just bound to torture that no other child has. He's in the same class and either the teacher thinks he's real smart or just hates him and assigns him a Dostoevsky novel to read and write a report on that he gets a D- on.
Yeah. Look,
that goes on his record, Mark.
I have my problems with the 1986 Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. If we're just going to dive in.
Let's do it. Because we know what the two finalists are right now.
We know what a few of the finalists are.
I think we should be looking for one that might be able to match up with it, but we should talk about a few of these because we should
talk about all of them.
Bat crap crazy. Go ahead.
Well, we've got a good example. We've got a good example in the 80s, a good example in the 90s, a good example in the early 2000s, and then I would argue a great example in 2021.
Ah, yes.
And then we're going to have a little conversation about that because I'm very curious about something. But let's start in the 1980s with 1986's Happy New Year, Charlie Brown. Yeah. His teacher assigns him and only him to read War and Peace. This one's not great. It really just kind of played like a sitcom episode to me. You know what I mean? Like some of them have more fun and they're more segmented into the strips. And this one kind of felt broken apart like a TV sitcom episode.
I agree with you. I think Charles Schultz works best in 3 panels.
Yeah.
That's why like the treasuries are so good because you get to see there's continuation there. And even if you look at Christmas and Halloween, it's all broken up into small scenes that could be sort of their own thing. And then there's a bit of a through line taking them through, but you could sort of separate the scenes and see how each one, you can see how they would be the 3-panel, 4-panel, 5-panel strips that you would get Sunday to Sunday or a Sunday through Saturday, however frequently you're getting Peanuts in your newspaper.
Yeah. And I think it's cool how they organize those 3 and 4 and 5 panel strips. Like I'm looking at the 1992, It's Christmas Time Again, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
As I was watching that and 2002, A Charlie Brown Valentine.
That one
both of those.
Well, yeah.
Both of those felt like sketch shows to me. Well, A Charlie Brown Valentine from 2002 felt like a sketch show to me in that they would repeat the same bit over and over again with a different punchline. It was very game heavy. It felt like a perfectly crafted sketch show.
Right.
We'll get to that. We'll get to 1992's It's Christmas Time Again, Charlie Brown. But that one to me felt like a purely chaotic improv show. Like,
yes.
You would follow one character for a little while, then you'd follow another character for a little while, then Sally's doing her hark running gag that keeps popping up. Like, it really felt like a great sketch show, one felt like a great improv show.
Well, yeah, Charlie Brown's Christmas Tales is the exact same thing, also from 2002. It is literally like, here's Sally's thing, here's Linus's thing, and it's just a series of comic strips that you're seeing come to life. And it's interesting because it's easy to digest and it's very familiar, but I like them reaching a little bit more because those characters, I mean, even by the 60s, those characters have been around. By 65, they've been around for 15 years. So they had established characters. They had established story. There was more to expand upon. I think that's what we connect to in the ones that are the best, is taking those personality traits and using that to drive a story. Rather than,
and it doesn't have to be the whole thing, though. I don't want the story to be the entire episode. I do love when you get a little bit of the A plot scattered throughout, and then, assorted other plot lines with other characters that are happening.
Agreed.
And I agree. I like it when they go a little deeper rather than just, to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I like that they added Rerun, who can blow square balloons in Happy New Year, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
I'm back in 86.
Yes.
We got that good version of Snoopy. I think we had a great party band. They put together good bands sometimes for these. And I think we got a really good one. There is. But this party band was pretty good. It was Franklin on guitar, Schroeder on keys, and Pigpen on stand-up bass.
Yep. That's
Snoopy
what
on
he
trumpet.
played. He played it on Christmas, too. He played stand-up bass. Pigpen was the stand-up bass player.
Yeah.
Not his first time. That band's been together for a while.
Was it that whole quartet?
I don't remember if Franklin played guitar. I know Snoopy played guitar for Christmas, but it was Pigpen on the stand-up bass.
I think that this 1986 New Year one is a good example of not really giving the character more depth, just taking what we already know about a character and really drilling it home. Right. Specifically, this is the saddest Charlie Brown has ever been. My God, he has to read War and Peace. He misses the party where the little red-haired girl shows up. Not only that, Linus dances with her. Come on, oof. Linus.
Painful.
Yeah. Rough. Yeah, it's just everything that could go wrong for Charlie Brown in this one goes wrong.
There's a limit to how much I'm willing to watch Charlie Brown be tortured by the world at large. And that's why, like, the War and Peace feels a lot. You could have done a lot of other things to have him taken out of the party. That just, and it feels like it is such a Charles Schultz thing. It feels like the punchline to a strip that everybody else has to read, the pokey little puppy, and he gets War and Peace.
Yeah, but then they have to extend it through the duration of an episode.
Yeah, it's just not as good. It's just not as good.
Also, the songs are not great.
Songs are not good. Well, we also get to a point with, I think it's Christmas Time Again might have like the version of Skating where they change it just enough to avoid being sued.
Yes, I was wondering about that because
I don't know what that's about. And then the 85 special, they play Linus and Lucy, but they play it, 92 was when they did Linus and Lucy, but with like sort of a more modern drum track, and it doesn't work. Like you don't have to modernize a great piece of music, no matter when it is from. does not need to be modernized. It is timeless because of how good it is. And that goes all the way back to classical music. You don't need to update it necessarily. Like, you can enjoy it as a piece of music now. It will move you. You will appreciate the intricacies of it. Same for, like, if I listen to Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest, I don't need it to be modernized. If they want to make the sound a little more clear and like remix it a little, like change the mix to what they wanted to be originally, but couldn't, I'm fine with that. But like, I don't need it. It's like perfect the way it is. There's no need to, like, kids today are going to go, I don't know, thank goodness the song had a drum beat I recognize. Otherwise I would have tuned out.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it is fun when you're listening to them to be like, oh, in this one, they were being a little peppier. Oh, in this one, they were trying to be more modern. Oh, in this one, they were trying not to get sued. Like, I understand that they have to be a little bit different each time. But yeah, you don't have to mess with a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 86 up through 92.
And 2002, The Christmas Tales.
And 2002, Charlie Brown Valentine.
Yes.
And Christmas Tales. Those were both from that year. I do like that in Christmas Time Again in 92, Marcy references Joan Didion. Like, it's just weird. It plays like a weird improv show. Like, there's always one person on the team who's going to make crazy book references.
Uh-huh.
You're like, okay, great. Like, I encourage everybody to watch the 92 Christmas Time Again. And think of it as just the Peanuts characters doing an improv show. Because that's what that one feels like to me.
Yeah. I don't think of the ones we've discussed, and I don't think there are any that rise to the level, even Thanksgiving, which is kind of close. It's just weird. It teaches you this odd lesson that if somebody invites themselves over and insults you, but you're so insecure that you're afraid that they're going to be mad at you because they came over and you didn't have a proper meal for them and you're supposed to go to your grandmother's and you never said no, but it all gets paid off because they're invited over to it's a really awful lesson there. There's like no good lesson to be learned.
Oh, the lesson of a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is terrible. But before we talk about that one, we've talked about the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. Let's take a quick break and then we'll jump to the early era when they were putting one out every year. How's that?
All right.
Let's
do it.
Great.
If you need a laugh and you're on the go, try STOPPODCASTI.
Were you trying to put the name of the podcast there?
Yeah, I'm trying to spell it, but it's tricky.
Let me give it a try.
Okay.
If you need a laugh and you're on the go, call STOPPPAD. It'll never fit.
No, it will. Let me try. If you need a laugh and you're on the go, try STOPPPDCOO. We are so close.
Stop podcasting yourself.
A podcast from MaximumFun.org.
If you need a laugh and you're on the go.
My name is Jordan Crucchiola, and I love movies. But you know what I might love even more? Talking about movies. And the directors, actors, and writers that join me every week on Feeling Seen love to talk about movies too. Like our recent co-host, the writer and director, Justin Simeon.
And I love the premise of your show, Feeling Seen. I think that's kind of always my goal when I'm making something. Nothing touches my heart more than when someone comes out of my movie and says, oh my God, I never thought I would see myself.
So hang out with us and geek out about watching movies, making movies, and the ways the movies we love speak to us directly. You might just start asking folks around you, hey, what movie character made you feel seen? We're doing it every week at MaximumFun.org.
Peanuts time is here.
Happiness and cheer.
They made comic strips into shows, and we'll discuss them here. All right, here's what I've got on my list for this.
Okay.
We got 1965, A Charlie Brown Christmas. 1966, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. 1973, A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Hard pass.
1974, it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. Maybe the worst of the bunch. Maybe the worst of the bunch.
It's an acid trip.
It is. Snoopy looks inside an egg that says, see the bunnies, and then sees the bunnies inside the egg, joins the bunnies inside the egg, and then somehow magically becomes the Easter Beagle. This is also the one, incidentally, where Marcy puts an egg in the toaster.
Have you noticed that when Snoopy puts on the flying cap and he grabs the little baton, his little cane, and he puts his scarf on and pretends that his doghouse is a plane, then nobody bats an eye. Like, we're all okay with that. But then when he looks into that egg and starts dancing with the rabbits, like, you probably had the same thought I did, which is, oh, Snoopy is high. Marcy is even more high because at the end she eats an egg. She doesn't know how to eat eggs. Like, it is an egg. Its physical properties have not changed. So when you're supposed to
they were high on different things.
Clearly. But
I
she
think
takes a bite
Snoopy
out of an egg,
is on
shell and all.
mushrooms.
Yeah, Snoopy's on shrooms.
Snoopy's on shrooms. Marcy's definitely
on
had
brownies.
too much weed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Peppermint Patty is on, but she never listens to a single word anyone says to her. Amphetamines. She's on amphetamines.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the one where Snoopy, there was one bit in one of these, I think it was one of the 80s ones or 90s ones we were talking about earlier, where Snoopy comes out and he does a puppet show. Do you remember this one?
Oh, yes, I do. It's
Snoopy
really
is
weird.
It's so weird. I think it's in that 92 improv show one.
I think
where
so.
Snoopy is, first he's the ticket taker, then he's the popcorn vendor, then he's the
popcorn.
usher.
Yeah.
And then he comes out to do his puppet show at his doghouse. But the funniest thing in that to me is that out of nowhere, Charlie Brown just steps out from off camera and starts narrating the puppet show for Lucy. The camera's been going the whole way. We should have seen him by now. And then, no, here comes Charlie Brown, as if I like to think that Charlie Brown's just been standing there waiting for his cue. Which he does a couple of times. We'll get to that.
They also talk about how Easter's become so commercialized because it's it's a very anti-capitalist message, but they already talked about the over-commercialization of the holidays in Christmas.
Not only that, the over-commercialization that they're talking about it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown, in all of the scenes where they're talking about it, they're in a mall that is doing a 246 days to Christmas sale. So it's not even about Easter.
Yeah.
It's like they had drawings of Christmas decorations left over from 1965.
It is bizarre.
It's so terrible. What have you done to me? This is one of the ones I want to kick you for.
I know. I want to kick myself that I had to watch it again. I watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched it before. I watched it again. I don't want you to think I watched it once and I'm good. I've watched it again. Yeah. I watched it again.
Okay, good.
Just to be up on it. Can we fast forward to what I think could be an actual contender?
I think there's one more contender left in the 70s.
Oh, say it.
I think that Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown is a legit contender.
I think it was really weird.
Really?
What do you like about it? Tell me.
I like the structure of it. I think that it gives, when you've got these kids whose job it is to be funny avatars for adult neuroses, doing an episode that is all about love and romantic relationships,
right,
I think he hits so many notes of really funny and really astute moments.
This is the one, because there are two of them. This is the one where Charlie Brown is trying to teach Sally how to make a Valentine, and he makes like a beautiful piece of paper art with like cupids and clouds and hearts that immediately falls apart. But Snoopy made one that's like fully mechanized and moving. Is it also the one where Linus buys chocolates for his teacher that Sally thinks are for her?
Yes.
So it's a very Shakespearean comedy of like they're crossed.
Exactly. It's okay. And Sally stands there waiting for him to give her the chocolates. I think it's brilliant. The fact that just the script of this one is so funny and adult to me when, they each get their little hearts, you know, everybody gets the little piece of heart-shaped candy, and Lucy gets Hug Me, and Charlie Brown gets Forget It, Pal. And from Snoopy, Sally gets, cause sure, Snoopy's in love with Sally. Why not? From Snoopy, Sally gets the entirety of Elizabeth Barrett Browning's How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways. It's just so, like the Peanut specials at their best are weird. Like, they're weird. They're like, there are moments in, like, why does Lucy in A Charlie Brown Christmas repeat the line, I know when I've been insulted. I know when I've been insulted. Just weird little moments throughout.
Yes.
And I think that one was one of the most fun, weird ones. Do I think it's going to beat 65 or 66? No. Maybe. Probably.
I have one that I think is good enough to at least be up there with them.
Is that the Great Pumpkin?
To watch all of the Snoopy, you can watch pretty much every Snoopy special now on Apple TV Plus. That being, reason for that being that Apple TV acquired all the rights to those things. They have a really deep partnership with Snoopy. They have their own Snoopy series, which is brilliant and ties in his relationship with NASA as he attempts to become an astronaut, I think, to go to the moon or Mars or wherever he's going. But in 2021, and this be something that might have flown under a lot of people's radar, they came out with a holiday special called Snoopy Presents for Auld Lang Syne. It is different from any of the other specials in that it is like a cell shaded style. The animation style is different to match what they're doing with the series, but it's got really like fun. It's got all these little stories that are happening in parallel to one another that build up to a huge moment. And then we get what you really only get at the end of the Christmas special, which is all the kids coming together to do the right thing for one person. In this case, it's Lucy and not Charlie Brown, who in her concern that people like her and think she's the life of the party, rents a ballroom to have a New Year's Eve party.
A terrible, busted old theater.
Yes. Meantime, Snoopy is having a family reunion with his brothers and sister. And all that Spike, his brother who lives in Needles, California, wants is to recreate a picture, because the picture he has of them together is when they were puppies. So he keeps having trouble getting a picture of them. And then eventually, during a snowball fight, Snoopy accidentally breaks the camera. So they're depressed. They are also a family band, and a very good one.
Oh, yeah.
They're sent to play the party, and they are terrible at it. Meanwhile, Charlie Brown can't keep any of his resolutions. He's realized that none of his resolutions has he been able to keep on the way to the year turning over. So it all works together so well. It's so well written. The silent comedy of all the Beagles together is great. The fact that Spike is
silent
central,
comedy is brilliant.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's
and Spike
so good.
being the central character of it, like that is absolutely in an episode of Standouts. That is a standout through line that runs throughout the whole thing. I mean, come on, Linus coming out as Elton John, just in a full Elton John costume.
Yes.
Is insanity. It's really fun. It feels like they don't ever say this is an Elton John costume, but it's one of these like, we found this costume for the party, and it's just silly. It's fun. Yeah. Everything about that special is great. I do have one, and this is a question that I knew I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Coming into it. And I think this will inform our decision specifically about this episode.
Okay.
You just said, and I wrote it down.
Oh.
Because as you said it, I knew I wanted to bring it up in this moment.
Have the stenographer read it back.
You were talking about the songs and the music.
Yes.
You said, when they were talking about modernizing it, you said, I don't want you to modernize it. It's perfect the way it is.
Agreed. Yeah.
Out of all of the Peanuts specials, including up through 2002, which was 2 years after the death of Charles Schulz.
Yes.
All the way up until then, they had the exact same style of animation.
Yes.
It was all nearly identical. There were a few little things that cleaned it up along the way, much in the way you were talking about the music. There's a few little things, you tweak them, you clean them up along the way, but fundamentally it's not different. This is fundamentally a different way of telling a Peanuts story.
Yes.
Do you think that our best Peanuts special, do you think that it is good enough in its storytelling and in its characters and the arc of it and the way that it's put together and the comedy in it and all of the different elements? Do you think that it beats one of the ones that is classically drawn in the Peanuts style that everyone knows?
If you had asked me that question prior to 2015, I would have said no. But in 2015, the Peanuts movie came out. And the Peanuts movie is computer animated. And it's in the style, they still have the same proportions. They still behave like they would when they were traditionally animated. But I was very, oddly nervous because I hold that so precious. Like, Peanuts is so precious to me that I was nervous. I don't want, and I know in the trailer they use all I do is win, win, win no matter what. I'm like, are they trying to modernize Are they trying to modernize it instead of taking what's timeless about it and just translating that to film? And they didn't. They made a film that I think Charles Schultz would have been really proud of, that had me in tears multiple times, that I think, had I not seen the storytelling and characters done so well in a different style of animation, then it would matter to me more. But I know that the people who are creating Snoopy content now for animation are doing such a fantastic job. And it is jarring at first, but the way they pull off the physical comedy, the expressions, it's still the same. They haven't changed any of that. So it really doesn't bother me as much. I expected it to, but it didn't. I was shocked at how much I liked that special. And I was even nervous seeing that, just going, oh, they've already done it. There are only so many holidays before they start going like, I mean, I actually wouldn't mind seeing an Ada Lovelace Day special, but they're going to get to like, it's Corn Dog Day, Charlie Brown. They're going to get to just the weird holidays. So
have you seen the list of just the episodes aside from the holiday specials that there are? They're not voting for you, Charlie Brown. Like it's all there. I encourage you to go and find some of these delightful episodes. They even made an Arbor Day episode, but it's not really an episode about Arbor Day, so it doesn't really count. It's about baseball.
Yeah.
I like this version better than the movie version of the animation.
It's a lot closer.
Because it feels a lot closer to the style. It's much flatter. I love the flatness of the style. I love that it's 12 frames per second as opposed to 24. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the crudeness of that I really like. And I think that this animation style, it looks kind of like flat, but 3D. You know what I mean? What did you call it?
Yeah.
There was a word you used for it.
Cell shaded. It looks like cell shading. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take it out of the running then. Okay. So we're saying that doesn't eliminate.
I'm saying, it doesn't eliminate. I would put that up as a finalist.
All right. And would you put it up as a finalist against A Charlie Brown Christmas, or would you put it up as a finalist against
It's the Great Pumpkin?
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
I'd say the three of them are finalists.
I would agree with that. Let's talk about Great Pumpkin and A Charlie Brown Christmas. They both have those iconic scenes that I was talking about before. They each have a good Lucy and Schroeder scene. They each have a good Lucy with the football scene.
That type of thing. We get Lucy the psychiatrist in Christmas.
We get Lucy the psychiatrist in both of them.
Right, but no football in Christmas.
There's no football in Christmas?
No.
Oh, that's a point against Christmas then. I think it was Valentine's Day and the old, or maybe it was Thanksgiving. Of the old ones, there were two football scenes in the three. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, but I think that it might be, it's tough because A Charlie Brown Christmas is so iconic on the whole.
Right.
As its own thing. But there are Peanuts tropes that are iconic that are all in The Great Pumpkin. That's, you get a psychiatrist scene. You get a Lucy with the football scene. You get a Schroeder scene. And I would argue that Snoopy's imagination scene in this one is better than Snoopy's imagination scene in Charlie Brown Christmas. One in It's the Great Pumpkin being World War I flying ace.
Yes, stuck behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
And he get the long way to Tipperary, and then they play the sad music and he cries.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That Schroeder scene is one of the funniest. That's
Schroeder playing.
That's the thing. I think that, and we've had this problem before on this show, where I think that sentiment wants me to pick A Charlie Brown Christmas, but I think It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown has more iconically Peanuts things in it. I think it might be better.
If you're going by what has the most tropes in it, that is the winner by a long shot. But also,
they weren't tropes until they made it.
But
they weren't tropes until they were classic moments.
Right, of course. But this is not the most Peanuts special. It's the best Peanuts special. So I don't think the lack of a football scene, for example, any more than the lack of a kite-eating tree really hurts Charlie Brown Christmas. It is a perfect piece of art.
Yeah.
It has, like, hands down the best soundtrack. That album is, I'll listen to that any time of year. This is the time of year where I'll listen to it all the time. It's just a perfect piece of jazz.
Yeah. They just heard.
And his trio.
That I think it was Melendez heard and was like, this is what we have to use. This catches these characters so perfectly. And the reason that Lucy and Linus and Charlie Brown and Sally and all the characters sound the way they do now is because their voices were so perfect in their original incarnations.
Yeah, I do. What's interesting about For Auld Lang Syne is that the child actors are like really polished. They're really good. They're professional actors. And by and large, especially younger characters like Sally, you have a kid who's so young they can barely, like, they're clearly like repeating lines that are said to them. And it's very charming. I never watch any of them and go, hey, that performance isn't very good.
Right.
They're all kind of bulletproof parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you have more seasoned actors in those roles, it does get a little bit deeper. That's why I think I keep connecting with For Auld Lang Syne. I don't think it's the winner. I would put it in my personal rankings. It would probably be number 2. I would jump it above The Great Pumpkin. Also because I think that the lesson of it is a little bit better, because it's showing that all of your friends will support you no matter what, and not your sister will come gather you from the pumpkin patch because she cares about you when you're freezing to death. And everybody has abandoned you because the Great Pumpkin's not coming, including the girl who calls you her sweet baboo and follows you everywhere.
Look, man, we talked about this. Charles Schultz said the Peanuts was about kids being mean to each other.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just in the holiday specials that they're like, all right, we'll let that slide for a little while. The running gag of I Gotta Rock is so good.
Yeah.
In The Great Pumpkin. I know I keep coming back to The Great Pumpkin. We'll eliminate The Great Pumpkin. We'll say it's between the 2021 and 1965. But we've talked multiple times on this show about how great that original 1965 A Charlie Brown Christmas is. And I don't think that as wonderful as this new one on Apple, or this 2021 one on Apple TV is, with the new artists and new writers and new voice actors who are very great and polished.
Yes.
There's a certain magic that happened when they made that original in 1965. Even though it isn't the most Peanuts, we don't get a version of everything. We do get the first version of everything. We get the solidifying of a style.
Yeah.
A style that had been static. We see what that style looks like in motion for the first time, and it becomes instantly identifiable around the world. I mean,
yeah. And it wasn't something everybody was jumping to do. It wasn't a slam dunk project, but it wound up creating a desire for annual specials. It won a Peabody Award, which you get for being educational for children. It's got a moral to it. It's got heart. It's got laughs. It's got the soundtrack. It's just like a perfect piece. Again, it's a perfect piece of art. It is a perfect piece of art.
There's no specificity to why Charlie Brown is sad. And that's what he's trying to figure out. It's Christmas. Why am I sad?
Right.
So it's universal too. You know what I mean?
Seasonal affective disorder. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we know that now. Really think that's the only thing he's got?
No, it's not all he's got.
He's got panophobia, man. The fear of everything.
That's it. Oh, people of the world. I think this is one of the other concepts, people, or things that has won multiple episodes. I think this won Best Holiday Special overall, if I'm not mistaken, that she did many years ago. And I will not repeat the same people of the world. I will just say it is a wonderful time for people who love Peanuts content, because you can find all of it on Apple TV+. Watch For Auld Lang Syne. It's really, really good. The new Snoopy series is good. The Peanuts movie is really good. There's just so much great content out there. We are going to do another episode, probably not in the not too distant future, talking about the non-holiday specials. So for those of you who are like, what about Race for Your Life?
Me, people of the world.
Yeah, we'll dig into everything from the story of Charlie Brown adopting Snoopy to them racing down the river against a bunch of bullies.
Are we going to do all 8 episodes of This Is America, Charlie Brown?
We're going to do all 8 episodes of This Is America, Charlie Brown. There's so much more in the Peanuts canon to explore. We're not even halfway done, I would bet. But for now, suffice it to say that the best Peanuts holiday special is the one you knew it would be from the very beginning. A Charlie Brown Christmas, asked and answered.
Oh, Christmas time is here. Yeah. Decision time is here.
Who suggested this?
I don't know, man. I feel like all of the Peanuts ones are Hal Lublin suggested.
No, this was suggested by Michelle Perkins, and it was suggested just 18 days ago in our Facebook group. So there you go.
Ooh.
It can be done. We do get to these. Somebody asked me recently on Blue Sky, what is the best way to suggest a topic? And I said, honestly, Facebook group, because we're always in there. mixing it up and checking things out. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle Perkins, for that topic. That topic is closed, but there are many more topics to discuss, so please reach out to us via email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or
reach us on the social media at We Got This Podcast on Blue Sky. We are there. We are we got this podcast on TikTok as well. We're not really doing much there, I'll be honest with you. on Instagram, we are at We Got This Show. And then, of course, the Facebook group where we love seeing your suggestions. So come join us there, facebook.com/group/We Got This Podcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, who's also on Blue Sky. I'm trying to get Mark on there. I've told him multiple times.
I have an account. There. I think I deleted
you don't.
it. No, I thought I did. Didn't I?
You don't? I don't think so.
I think I deleted my account. Because
well,
there was a time when everybody went to Blue Sky and then everybody went back and then everybody went to Blue Sky again.
We're there now and it's beautiful. Right. So you got to join so I can add you to my Thrilling Adventure Hour starter pack.
Ooh, a starter pack. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, deal. I'll do it.
Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, the people of the world, because you give us an opportunity to, this is the Peanuts, man. This is an exploration of life and love and joy and heartbreak. And we get to do it as friends and as family. And we have a great time doing it. We love diving into this stuff. You are the reason we do this. So we thank you for that. We can't thank you enough. So I'll just say, as I always do, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows
supported directly
by you.